Hi friends, Dr. Kevin Agarth here. Hey, I got an email question written into us and I just wanted to address it for all of you to be able to follow along with and learn some stuff today. You know, the person writes in and asks about the policy of mutual agreement. So in our marital negotiation course that we have, we call it the marital negotiation, the policy of mutual agreement. And we'd like everybody to come to mutual agreements in order to resolve their conflicts. And so the question is, you know, should we use the policy of mutual agreement when it comes to meeting our spouse's needs, their intimate emotional needs, or do we just go ahead and meet those needs even if we're not in agreement about it? And so this is a really interesting subject because a lot of times, for example, the need of sexual fulfillment. A lot of times a man will want to have sexual fulfillment, say, every day, especially if they're just newly married. And the wife, she might not want to have sexual fulfillment that often, maybe once a week or once every several weeks even. And it's really important that we get our intimate emotional needs met. It's very important that we learn how to get our needs met. So I don't want people to compromise on that. What I want people to do is to learn how to change the conditions. You know, under what condition would you be willing to? And so as I got a little bit more information from this emailer to find out what's the story behind the question, like what's happening in like real life, what's the real life story here. So the wife, she explains that she was out one day and she came home. She had all kinds of things that she wanted to talk to her husband about. She was excited to talk to him about. And her husband came home from work and she just says, you know, I got all this stuff I want to share with you and I want to talk with you about. And he says, oh, hang on a second. Can it wait until after I eat? I'm starved. I want to get something to eat. And she was terribly offended by this. She was hurt by this. And she says, oh, okay. And so he went and he changed his clothes and he went and he had something to eat and he asked her, you know, what was it that you wanted to talk to me about now? And she's like, it's not that important, nothing, you know. And he said, well, wait a minute now, you want to talk about something, what was it? And she says, never mind, it's not that big of a deal. And he's like, oh, well, okay. And what, you know, and so she really didn't talk to him and explain to him what all was going on there. She was very hurt and she was very offended by that. And he just didn't quite pick up on that. He didn't quite get it. Here's what happens, my friends. The need for heart-to-heart conversation is most women's top intimate emotional need, heart-to-heart conversation. So when she came to him and said, I've got to share this stuff with you, what she was saying was, my need for heart-to-heart conversation is just a desire. I've got to talk with you. And what he didn't understand that. He didn't quite get that. And so when he says, well, can it wait? She was offended. She was hurt. The equivalency of this, men, is if you are feeling really frisky, I mean, you're in the mood, you're frisky, and you ask your wife, hey, you know, we want to go to the bedroom. Let's have some fun. And she says, I'm not in the mood for that. You know, maybe later, maybe later. Most men would feel really hurt by that. They would be even offended by that. And, you know, and if the wife kind of picked up on it, well, yeah, I guess maybe there's something wrong with him. You know, maybe, well, I maybe offended him here. Well, okay, let's go in the bedroom now. Most men would be like, you know what, no, all right, you know, because they begin to kind of withdraw. And so they say, no, you know what? And they think to themselves, you know, if you really don't want to, then I don't want to force you to do something that you don't want to do. I mean, if this isn't something that you're just, you know, enthusiastic about the way that I am, you know, I don't want to be a burden to you. I don't want to be like an animal or something, and be forceful about this. And not just forget it. That's, you know, some other time. And I think the key thing to understand here is that when this particular wife wanted to talk to her husband, he didn't mean to hurt her. He didn't mean to offend her. And he didn't even probably really know that she was taking it as rejection of one of her intimate emotional needs. And so think about it. I mean, most men, they don't have the need for heart-to-heart conversation. It's not on the top of their list anyways. And so when he says, later, can I eat something first? That can be offensive for her. And vice versa. Most women, on the top of their list is not the need for sexual fulfillment. And so if she says a little bit coarsely, I'm not interested in having sex right now, maybe some other time, I'm not in the mood, she doesn't mean that to be hurtful. But see, experientially, the man typically does not understand the great importance on her need for heart-to-heart conversation. And experientially, typically the woman doesn't fully understand by experience. She doesn't fully grasp how important it is, how intimate it is for him to have his need of sexual fulfillment met. And so that's why it can be so easy to accidentally hurt each other's feelings and cause offense and kind of push a person into withdrawal because of these lack of understandings. One thing that's really important, I think, to understand here is that it's very important to meet your spouse's emotional needs at the amount they need them met. So if you have a wife and she needs heart-to-heart conversation, an hour a day. Now, you don't give her heart-to-heart conversation how much you think she needs. It's important to give her what she needs, what she thinks she needs. Vice versa. I'm taking both sides here. So women, don't just give your husband sexual fulfillment of how much you think he needs, but ask him, what do you need? What would make you really happy in this relationship? And then try to fulfill that. But here's the key, is discovering the conditions under which you're willing to do so. I'm not asking you to make some terrible sacrifice that's going to be just burdensome and that's just going to be irritating to you. I'm asking you to discover the conditions. So in this particular case, the husband said the condition would be, I just want to get in the house. I just want to change my clothes and get something to eat. Maybe he had a really long day, hard physical work, his energy is low, blood sugar is a little low. Maybe he just needs some sustenance to help him to kind of get in the mood, to help him kind of get in that place where he can actually have a very healthy and beneficial heart-to-heart conversation with her. That's a condition. So it's important to give your husband those conditions, help to make those conditions come to pass so that he can then meet your needs. Now, a lot of ladies say, wait a minute, conditions? I mean, if you love somebody, you should want to have conversations. You should just, be tripping over yourself to have heart-to-heart conversation with them. But here's where you misunderstand. It's not one of men's top intimate emotional needs. And so there are certain conditions that have to be met so that he will be willing to do so. Same thing, men, with sexual fulfillment. Men, most of the time, at the drop of a dime, you would be willing to have sexual fulfillment with your spouse whenever you want. Sure, I'm game for whenever. Women typically are a little bit different. There are certain conditions that they're willing. There are certain conditions where they're desiring that. They have to be in the right mood. So, women, I want you to meet your husband's need for sexual fulfillment. And I want you to help him. I want you to tell him under what conditions you're willing to. And men, I want you to work very diligently to bring those conditions out. So if your wife needs to relax and calm down, calm her mind a little bit, then make a nice bubble bath for her. Put on some nice music. If it's a mood kind of thing, help to bring that mood out. Have some calmness. Have a babysitter for the children. have the house cleaned up ahead of time, so she's in a place of comfort and a place of peace. And when you bring about the conditions, then you can get your need met so much more easily. In this particular case, his conditions are, I just got to get something to eat. I just got to take get my clothes changed. I've got to get out of my work clothes. I've got to just relax for a second and get my head clear so that I'm available to have some heart-to-heart conversation about what's been going on in your life all day long. Friends, I want to impress this upon you so strongly. If you make meeting your spouse's needs a demand and or unpleasant, it is like repellent. Now, let me explain this demand thing. When you tell somebody, you got to sit down and talk with me, of course that's a demand, naturally. But if you say, I'd like you to sit down and talk with me, and then there's a consequence attached, if they don't, that's also a demand. And it's perceived in the subconscious mind as a demand, and the subconscious mind rejects that. It repels that. It tries to get away from that. So in this particular case, when the wife, withdrew and she got quiet, and she wasn't trying to punish him. She just felt withdrawn. She felt hurt. But he viewed this almost like a punishment. He viewed this as a very negative situation. So in his subconscious mind, he viewed this like it's a demand that whenever I want to talk to you, you better stop what you're doing and listen, or there's going to be a consequence. And the consequence is I'm going to have a bad emotional reaction. So I just want to encourage people to resist that. Resist that. If we make meeting each other's intimate emotional needs pleasant, and we find out what conditions they're willing to do so, we bring about those conditions, then we can get our needs met, and we can be in romantic love. And that's really the reason. That's the reason why people get married in the first place. That's the reason why couples are married decade after decade, happily married decade after decade, is because they're in love. They're in romantic love. They're experiencing the feeling of an incredible attraction, chemistry. It goes by so many names, but it's that emotion, that unmistakable emotion called love. And if you meet each other's intimate emotional needs, these are love raisers, and it will make you breach the romantic love threshold, and you'll be in romantic love. Friends, if you want to know more about this, and you want to know more about how the subconscious mind creates romantic love, if you want to know in a step-by-step format how you can create romantic love, and then how you can sustain it if you just continue the path, we'll show you everything you need to know in our home DVD study course. It has transformed thousands of marriages, and it will help you too. Please share this video with your friends. If you have any friends that you think might be in need, please share this with them. Remember, what you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. Thank you.